first got involved with the huts as a bushwalker. I think a lot of bushwalkers and skiers in Kosciuszko National Park come across the huts and spend a bit of time in them. And I remember thinking it would be really good to give something back. And so a few years ago, I joined up to join a working party to go in and maintain one of the huts, and haven't looked back.
And what's it like for you getting involved and being hands-on with it?
It's a really good opportunity to actually make a real difference. I think a lot of volunteers in all sorts of walks of life would agree with me. For me, I was really motivated by taking my sons along and setting a bit of an example for them to give something back to the community as well in a very tangible way, and to help maintain the heritage that these huts represent in the Snowy Mountains.
Yeah, good stuff. So how bad were the fires a couple of years back and their impact on the huts?
Well, if you look at the national parks themselves, the Kosciuszko Huts Association that I represent is a volunteer organisation that really manages the huts in Kosciuszko National Park, as well as Namadgi National Park in the ACT. So if you look at those two huts, the fires were devastating. For Kosciuszko National Park, about a third of the national park was devastated by the fires, and as many of your viewers would know, it's an enormous national park. And as far as Namadgi National Park goes, the fires were so ferocious that they took out 80% of Namadgi National Park. So yes, it had quite a big impact.
And so tell us about the reconstruction effort, which was no doubt pretty challenging in some of these remote spots.
That's absolutely right, Joe. The New South Wales National Parks and Wildlife Service has really been taking the lead on this with inputs from our association and volunteers. It's taken them about 5 years to reconstruct the huts. Really have to hand it to them, though. They jumped right in almost straight away after the fires to get into action. A lot of the huts, as you say, are in really remote areas. Many can be driven into with four-wheel drives, and some of them are even beside highways. But some of them actually have no tracks to them whatsoever. And so in some of those cases, materials had to be flown in to rebuild them.
Yeah, and rebuilt them in their original style. Yeah, it's so cool to see them in their original style.
That's exactly right. A lot of these huts date back, some of them are up to 100 years old. They were really built originally by some of the miners who went into the areas around Kiandra. They were replaced by the pastoralists, driving cattle and sheep, and then later on the Snowy Mountains Authority, as it used to be called, for the hydroelectric scheme. A lot of the huts were built to support the hydrologists and meteorologists working on that project. So yes, they each tell a different story, and each of the rebuilds has been done in a very bespoke way to be faithful to that to the original design.
And what's it like for you and members of your organisation to see the final result?
Oh, it's tremendously gratifying. It's not just for members of our organisation, but even in some cases, families of the original inhabitants of the huts have been involved in the reconstruction. That's really quite touching to see the way that the huts were and remain really part of the fabric of the communities up in the Snowy Mountains.
And can any hikers kind of spend a night in a hut? Have you got to book ahead, or how does it work?
There's no booking system. They are, and so to answer your question, yes, bushwalkers and skiers can spend the night. We don't necessarily encourage people to spend the night because they are heritage structures. And as it turns out, a lot of bushwalkers and skiers actually prefer to pitch one of their nice new modern tents outside and use their expensive equipment. It's a little bit less drafty than some of those old huts, and each of the huts usually has a resident rat as well that can pester you if you stay overnight.
Yeah, and yeah, just one of those shots we saw there was the Milky Way. Have you been up there in the Kosciuszko National Park and seen some pretty enriching sights?
Absolutely, yeah. Once you're out there in some of the more remote areas, there's hardly any light of civilization, so you get some pretty good sort of starscapes, yeah.